Not a lot of folks talk about B2B in this conference. We're going to focus specifically on B2B because it's a real important part of our business, real important part of our strategy. And as you can see, we've dedicated a big part of our booth to industry performance. So throughout this presentation, we'll highlight why we're doing that and what are we doing about it. So first of all, you know the world is changing. We're not going to repeat the same things that you've heard from everybody across the conference. Things are changing. How we live, our lives are changing. How the companies drive value is changing. How it's impacting day-to-day digitization is changing. How value is created is shifting very quickly. And how the industries are being disrupted is also beginning to change with the technologies that we have. So what I'd like to show you is what we do. And we are a big believer that at the end of the day, automation, AI, is really challenging the industrial age. The industrial revolution that drove the big concept of high automation, high changes, introduction of machinery, and scale is being challenged. Because with automation and with AI, you don't really need scale. You just really need to have really good automation and AI to challenge anybody in the marketplace. So let's talk about it in a little bit more detail. First of all, the way we live as citizens, as consumers, the technologies we use, the experiences that we have, is impacting our expectations of what we need to see at our work. And it started with some basic things. Things like email, collaboration tools, or in the past of just 5 years ago, just 8 years ago, if you compared the collaboration tools that you were able to use as a consumer versus what you had in the enterprise, there was a massive gap. And that's changing. We talk about the number of connected devices. Everybody has numbers. The important point is many, many devices are going to be connected in the future years, coming very fast. I don't know if you know this. Half of human population today, half, is mobile, is already connected. You add on top of that the 50 billion, 40 billion devices, you can see that it's really changing and changing how we work, how we create value. 80% of the value change in the industries are being touched by digitization. We suspect that in 2020, when you look at the value chain of any industry, it will be dramatically impacted by digitization. If you look at the connected devices, IoT, today there's still quite a bit of talk about how do we implement IoT, how do we connect things. In a very near future, and we're talking in the next 24 months, 48 months, you see IoT connectivity becomes normal, standard, not unique, not a different pilot or an experiment. It is BAU as we go forward. If you think about the cities, the citizens of different cities are driving the political agendas. We'll get up and talk. Marcus is going to talk a lot more about the smart cities. Every politician that we talk to in Europe talks about digitization. Every single one of them, including here in Barcelona. We have multiple pilots that are going large scale in trying to digitize the experience of citizens and improve the quality of life. And we'll show you examples. What do we mean by that and how do we drive it? And finally, how do the industry get disrupted? Robotics is a no-brainer. More and more robotics being introduced. But the biggest thing we want to drive that any process that exists today in the next 2 years will be driven by AI. That is a phenomena that we're seeing evolve very, very fast. So every process will be driven or has the potential of being driven by AI. Just keep that in mind. So as a business, we see that this digital business becomes just part of normal business. IT or it becomes just part of your day-to-day activities. It's interesting. I was in Eurosys event, which is a retail event in Germany last week. I was surprised, first of all, how big the event is. And as I walked through the event, I was amazed that majority of the technology solutions that are being introduced in that Eurosys event is all about digitizing retail industry. The stores, the experience of buyers in the stores, trying to compete with the Amazon solutions, being at home, being able to click and buy, their supply chains, how they actually stock, how do they deliver to the employee. All of these solutions is all about digitization. I also participated in a really interesting event which is around startups for automotive industry. We joined a platform that's sponsored by Plug and Play, which is a big investor in a startup environment for automotive. Again, hundreds of companies in that particular platform, hundreds, all looking at how do they digitize the car, whether it's the manufacturing process, whether it's parts management, whether it is experience of the passengers in the car, not necessarily just the drivers, but the passengers in the car. So it is changing, right? Things are happening around us. Now, the way we like to think about how we approach this digital opportunity is through four fundamental pillars. So in Deutsche Telekom, in T-Systems, we think about four pillars that impact the B2B digitization going forward. First one is connectivity. And of course, 5G is a major contributor to revolutionizing some of our processes, applications across B2B. Low latency, big capacity, introduction of computing power into the network, all of these elements are there, but also within the fixed line networks, around software-defined networks, around software-defined LANs, we're seeing big digitization going on as well. So connectivity is one area. Second area we'll look at is digital. And in digital, we think about IoT devices, we think about applications management, application development, we think about smart cities, we think about all of the things that we can bring from an application using the appropriate infrastructure to help the clients digitize. The third area that we'll look at is cloud. Of course, private cloud, on-premise, but also public cloud. But more important for us, which we'll be majoring on today, is edge computing. And for us, edge computing is a little bit different than what everybody talks about, because if you walk around, everybody's talking about edge computing. And majority of the solutions that you hear, they talk about putting a computer on premise in the client's environment and call it edge computing. Our view on edge computing, it must be in the cloud. If we're mobile, if things are moving, if devices are not static, you need computing close to these devices. And that means in the network, is how we think about it. And of course, security, right? We all talk about security, security being part of every solution that we drive across this value chain. So today, we're going to feature a few examples. And these are not just ideas, they are, hypotheses. These are real examples that we're driving with the clients. And the first one that I'd like to go ahead and share with you is campus networks. Stephanie?
Thank you. So, hello also from my side. My name is Stephanie Kuhlmann and I'm working for 5G for business customers. And I'm responsible for the business development of campus networks. So, and this is basically why I'm here. I would like to introduce our campus solution to you. And the background of it is that Industry 4.0 requires the flexibilization and the mobilization of the production. This means the connection of the robots, of the devices, and the sensors to a mobile network. So we have a mobile connectivity solution here, which is based on LTE in the first step, and then we evolve it into 5G. So let me take this campus ground as an example to explain what a campus solution is. This is a regular campus ground you know from a factory. First of all, there is a public network, a regular public mobile coverage, which is the quality is depending on the location, but it is usually not sufficient to cover the requirements of a business customer. And therefore, we have a two-step approach. So we're offering a two-step approach. First of all, we are enhancing the mobile coverage on-premise. So first LTE, then later it will be 5G. And this is important for the regular public communication, but it is also important for some M2M, so machine-to-machine applications, such as predictive maintenance. Then there is a dedicated private network on top of it. So we are using the same infrastructure to build on top a dedicated private layer. And this private layer is the foundation for the unwire the factory. And this is important, especially when talking about flexibilization and mobilization of the production. So this means that every time we are talking with a customer, they are keen to know or they would like to have dedicated quality of services, and they would like to have ensured a very high privacy. And this can be covered by our solution. So first of all, we have a very high privacy due to the edge cloud we install locally on-premise. This means that the data does not leave the campus ground. So it is a very private solution. Second, we have guaranteed quality of services, meaning reliability, latency, and throughput. So another important point for a business customer when he would like to flexibilize his production. And then we also offer network monitoring. And this network monitoring gives a transparency about this network and the network functionalities. And also the customer is able to administrate his devices autonomously. So this is in short our solution. But when you ask me, what is special about the solution? What distinguishes our offer from the others? Then I would say it's a combination out of a public network and a private network. So, meaning, well, I would like to give you an example for this. So, imagine a robot that is moving and is connected to the private network. In case you would have installed a dedicated private network, the robot would stop as soon as he leaves the campus ground. In case you would have installed this solution, the robot would continue moving because there is a seamless handover between the public and the private network. So first he was connected to the private network, then he leaves the factory ground, and then he is connected to the public network. So a seamless transition. This is our USP, and I would like to give you a short summary of what I just said. So we would like to give you, as our customers, the best network experience, not only for your regular communication, but also for the production processes. And it's not that we only talk about these things, but we really make it happen. Yesterday, we just launched our very first campus network at Osram. So it is a pretty cool thing. So we just launched this, we are very proud of it, and we announced further networks to come.